welcome to the post match, or rather the post days analysis. It has been topsy turvy. It's going in all directions. Again, it's been such an interesting day of cricket. If you're a Test cricket fan, 11 wickets, and 10 wickets. The last one that came right at the fag end of the day, very unexpected. So much to talk about. Jaditha, welcome. What did you make about today's game? Are you obviously there's so much to be happy about in terms of Rishabh Pant, but overall, are you upset as an Indian fan given no one else scored, given the bowling? We've just managed to bag a couple of wickets. Where do you stand?
Firstly, what happened in the last 5 minutes will help me sleep a little better tonight to start off, okay? Because we all want to see the back of Dean Elgar. We know what he did it to us in the last Test match, and he's one of the guys in form. He likes a battle. He's a tough nut. He doesn't look very good, but gets the job done. But yes, I mean, a lot of us had our opinion on Rishabh Pant, but there will be. This is why he's special. Now he's done things which nobody in Indian cricket, none of the keepers that have played before, have done, and to be able to come and play this knock, not just playing this knock, have the ability where Virat Kohli is going at 30 strike rate to come and play at 80, 90 strike rate. But then again, he will disappoint you sometimes. He will play those shots like he played in the last Test match. Even today, he played a few. They came off. But that's what match winners are. That's what Kapil Dev was. Those are the guys out of the ordinary. So they will always sometimes disappoint you, but they will also win you games and play innings that nobody else is capable of. We've seen it in Australia. We've seen it in England. And now we've seen it in South Africa. And it's only for his sake. My love for India and India winning is there. But just to give more value to this innings, India's got to win this Test match. Otherwise, what good is this innings? And we'll all forget about it. It's all about winning. Yes, very disappointing. I think Virat stuck it out for a long time, played second fiddle to Rishabh Pant, which is not easy for a Virat Kohli to do, the number one player, the numero uno batsman in the world, to come and play second fiddle to a guy who's not been amongst runs. But that's his smartness. That's his greatness. He did not want to attack from both ends and both get out. He was waiting for Rishabh Pant. It was his day. He gave him the strike. But when Virat Kohli got out to a disappointing shot, to that old issue of his, I think the next few, even Rahane, why do you want to play that ball on this pitch? If you can put another set of stumps, it won't hit it. Why play that ball? I know you nicked it, you hit it, it was a superb ball, it was a peach. I understand everything. But a Sunil Gavaskar wouldn't have played that ball. A Rahul Dravid wouldn't have played that ball. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Then after that, with Shardul, with Ashwin also came and started playing shots, got dropped in the slips, again played the shot, paid for it. With a guy going so well at the other end, that's the time you buckle down and you let him do it. So Ashwin, instead of playing shots, should have just held on to his wicket, because he's got two more days to go. A 25 from Ashwin, a 25 from Shardul, and we'd be sailing right now.
That's true. And no, I want to give some, prominence and airtime to Rishabh Pant. It's just so impressive. I mean, I really hope it doesn't go in the way of his 114 in England, which we lost, and Cook was the man of the match. Because and I want to get your perspective on this. I mean, yes, maybe the next five innings again, he will frustrate everyone. There'll be articles written as to should he have played this, should he have done that. But sometimes I think that in a match where in the first innings, just I think three batsmen managed to score more than 15. In this innings, it was just Kohli and Rishabh Pant. Rishabh probably has scored more than 50% of the runs. What is more important? Is it this impact in a crucial, it's your match is at stake. He's under pressure. Series is at stake. It's these high pressure games. He's done it at Gabba. Clearly, like you said, like the Kapils of the world, he's something clicks and he performs. So would you put, as a coach, as a well-wisher, would you put a higher weightage on technique of the Pujaras and the Rahanes, or I don't know what you want to call this X factor, but to be able to score centuries of this nature in Sena countries, I mean, hopefully New Zealand will happen as well, at a strike rate of 70, 80, after keeping, and mind you, at the age of 24, he's anyway the fastest to get to 100 dismissals, probably by a margin of 17 innings compared to even a Dhoni. I'm at loss of words. I mean, this is something magical and special.
Absolutely. Firstly, Rishabh Pant's technique is pretty solid. That's one. The issue sometimes will be with temperament, with ball choosing. So every time he's got out, it's not because of lack of technique, but because of his shot selection. But that is something that you will always that will come into play with players of this sort. The Ben Stokes, he'll play a shot and get out, and then you'll feel, oh my god. So they deceive to flatter you. They flatter to deceive you. Sorry, I got that wrong.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, they feel, but they also play innings like this. So if they don't play the way they do, they're never going to get these knocks. We're not going to see them. So there are different types of players that you need in the team. You need some rock solid Rahul Dravids, Pujaras. Then you need the Sehwags, which is the punts.
Yeah.
I was once having this chat with Mutaya Muralidhar, and I said, oh, you all in Sri Lanka, that team. He said we were only scared of Sehwag because he could get 250 in one day, and that means we would have to bat 4 days to save the test match. So
And that too
with
at a very good clip.
Yeah, so in a team with the Gambhir, Dravid, Sachin, Lakshman, Ganguly, Dhoni, he's scared of Sehwag. So
Yeah.
because Sehwag is special, he can get 250 in one day. People around him, but he's 260 order at the end of the day. India is 378. Next day, India comes and get 500, and then for 3.5 days, you got to you save the test match. You got to win it after you've considered 350. So similarly over here, this is an impactful innings. Today, Rishabh Pant had got out. We were nowhere in this game. We're in this game because of him. And where every
Certainly.
other batsman was finding it difficult to put bat on ball, this is what special talent is. And
And
just to
mind you,
take somebody's
today's innings, I mean, at the end, because like you rightly said, he had to also ensure that he wasn't just playing for his century. He was playing through the overs. He was doing his running around the stump. He was doing all kinds of things just to ensure that the team probably got 10, 15, 20 more runs. But it was so disappointing to see. I mean, I'm not expecting, the flourishing shots. I was just hoping that the Shamis, I mean, we've got two or three ducks at the end. Could we not just have defended, wait for the over to change, batsman to come to the other side, give Rishabh the respect that he deserves?
See, somebody like Rishabh Pant will also sometimes, they don't play for records. Players like these sorts don't play for records. They play their entertainment value. When they're in that zone, they just play whatever comes with them. These are the guys that fill seats in a stadium. You want to go and see them play. You pray that today Rishabh Pant comes. He'll come once in 3 games, once in 4 games, but what paying the admission just to see that innings being played. I missed out on a couple of things. I just couldn't get out of my sofa, just
Yeah.
knowing that how he was batting. That's how good he is. You miss out on work, but that's how special these players are. Coming back to Shami and Umesh, with due respect to them, Shardul in this team because he can bat. Otherwise, Ishan Sharma would play. Now, the way
Yeah.
the Shardul got out was very disappointing, and the way he looked at it as well, that's the first ball that has swung in 4 days, in 3 days. Every ball has swung. And how can you, from middle stump, play a ball to mid wicket and get caught behind? When you bowl that ball, you want that batter to play to mid wicket. But when you're batting, you're an all rounder. You have a making of an all rounder. You're a bowler who can bat. That's the reason you're playing in this game. I can understand you defend and a good ball gets you, it's okay. But we've thrown it away. Virat threw it away. Ashwin threw it away. Shardul threw it away. If
And yeah,
these
let's
guys
quickly get. No, I mean, absolutely. And, just going back to, of course, Pujara, the delivery that got Pujara, I mean, that catch is, I mean, out of the world. But the Rahane dismissal again just got me. You're right. I mean, no two ways. It was absolutely brilliant. But if one can't rise up to the occasion, I mean, this is where you, like we said, this is, you have to play for these big matches where your services are needed. And if you can't, I mean, I don't think his confidence is, his confidence gets helped. Neither does the teams, because suddenly, to be very honest, by the time I came back and I switched on, Pujara and Rahane was gone, and you were like, my God,
Yeah.
we were hoping the first star could be saved, and then,
Yeah.
like you said, we could pile on. But this, I mean, yeah, this is such a topsy-turvy topic. I am fairly certain. I mean, even Dravid probably will be. I mean, I'm sure people are talking, but I guess it comes down to just knowing which one to leave and which one to stop nudging around.
Yeah, if you see the way these two South African players have batted, Elgar has not played one ball that has not hit the stumps. Okay,
Yeah.
we got him we got a bit of a gift. Pujara got down the leg side to a blinder. These things will happen. The odd dismissal will happen. We can only control what we can. And Pujara's dismissal and Elgar's dismissal were similar. Only one was to leg slip, one was down to the keeper. But all I'm saying is that when you're a Rahan in your 70, 80 test matches and you're ex-captain and you've got all the experience in the world, why would he ever play a ball which is next to your chest, especially when you're not in form? Even if that ball hit the middle of the bat, that wouldn't have fetched him a run.
Yeah.
And our coaches used to say, only play balls on in such situations. Only play balls if you're playing an attacking shot, if you're playing a push to off the back foot, a cut. I can still understand you getting out for that. But for you to defend a ball which is chest high in the conditions that they are in the 3 days, we've seen that is probably one of the things you shouldn't be doing.
And
And
talking
when
about,
you're not in, yeah, when you're not in form, when you're struggling for runs, why would you want to do that? Yeah, it was a peach of a delivery. It was everything, the catch, everything taken. But you can only control what you can, and you could have left it alone.
spot on. And talking about chest high, I mean, just looking at the way Elgar and and we should talk about Peterson in a bit, but has the pitch eased out, or is it that because we don't have the high height and the bounce isn't making an impact? It looked for the last, probably an hour plus, it looked like a batting paradise.
No, the pitch hasn't eased out. It's the height of the bowlers. But in Bumrah came and bowled, the over everybody got Elgar, the over before that as well. I mean, there were balls which were past his chest. We wasn't even come close to playing them. He's not even
Right,
trying to play them. It's the discipline. He's playing for
right.
time. He knows there's 2 days left in the test match. Time is not an issue in this test match.
Absolutely.
And he played the ball. In fact, he was so much in leave mode that when he got that last ball rocketing in swing into him, almost got him in the pads, got one in the box, got one in the tummy, but didn't play balls that were not hitting the stumps. That's an example for you right there. And
And
we
you're
can
right.
talk about Peter.
He looks scratchy, but perhaps the reason is because he is willing to take it on his body. He's leaving it. He is not nudging outside, far away from his body.
When your career finishes, nobody remembers how you play. Everybody remembers the figures. You look at a Graeme Smith, look at a Steve Smith
Yeah,
when he finishes. You look at some of the others, even a Shivner and Chanderpaul, not the prettiest guy you would want to see. But if you want him to bat for your life, I'd pick him. He'd be one of the
yeah.
guys I'd pick. He likes a fight. He'll be there. He'll take a blow, and he will not give anything away. So there are two types of players: the one that'll get runs and look pretty, one that'll get runs and not look pretty. And I'd go for either of them because for me, at the end of the day, it's the runs that matter and what value you bring to the team. If you look pretty, that's an added bonus, but that's not a must-have for me.
And Elgar probably is feeding off the confidence from the previous games where he's done this. I mean, it's just the grit element is fantastic. I mean, sure, India probably probably goes feeling a bit happier at the end, but I mean, they have to play out of their skin to get 8 wickets for maybe about 100 odd runs. And again, maybe let's talk about Ashwin. I was obviously perplexed about that LBW dismissal from the naked eye, even from the reviews. I still can't geometrically believe that ball bounces, but well, you got to believe that technology. But I think the two things that disappointed me thereafter that after that decision, one was I thought it was uncalled for Virat to kind of speak close to the mic about what he said about the whole country being against. And the other is, I think again a little bit of a lack of leadership. We leaked 30, 40 runs thereafter. Somehow India seemed really phased out about that decision not going in their favor.
Yeah, that's very nicely put, Prantik. I'll tell you what happened. When it hit the pads, I thought it was dead and gone. Okay. With the review, I was a bit startled. But in the next over, in the very next over from Ashwin, he bowled 3 balls on the trot outside off stump that pitched exactly where that ball pitched. And Elgar left it, and all of them were taken on over the stumps by Pant.
Yeah,
So when a 6 feet guy is tossing it up in the air like that, there will be some extra bounce. And the only thing that Elgar had for himself is that he had a fair bit to go. He was down by quite a bit. Okay.
that's
So he
true.
had a good maybe 6.5 feet to go. And my point is, sometimes you'll win them, sometimes you lose. But after the dismissal went against India, India lost the plot for a bit.
Yeah.
And it started with like Virat got angry and everybody else, once the captain gets angry, everybody else gets angry. And there's some inexperienced players that started feeling the heat. Shardul bowled a couple of loose balls. Ashwin came and bowled a couple of loose balls. Now Ashwin's thinking that I've not been given a wicket that I should have been given. Many times you also get a wicket when because of umpire's call, you get it out.
That's true. That's
Okay.
true.
And that is the period till this dismissal came. And even this dismissal coming almost seemed like, it was as if, there was things were even Steven, but that was not Elgar's fault. He was not given out.
Yeah.
All he did was ask for a review. He's well within his rights.
That's true. And I thought, yeah, I mean that period was really because it's. I mean, to me, what's worrying is not just the fact that I mean we don't we just have two wickets, but the run rate. The last 10 overs they've gone four plus. They've always seemed to be three and a half, four plus today. I mean, I'm happy Umesh didn't league, but Shardul again seemed below par. But letting them go at four plus, in a low scoring game, I think. But again, I must appreciate Peterson. I think his shot selection and his tightness in defense, I mean, looked absolutely brilliant. What a find for South Africa.
He's an outstanding player. He has what it takes to be in the league of the Virat Kohlis, the Joe Roots,
Yeah.
the Steve Smiths, the Kane Williamsons. He is an outstanding player for the simple reason that his technique is so airtight. He looks. There were balls he got beaten. He didn't look ugly, and that's what good
Yeah.
technique does to you. Sunil Gavaskar also got beaten, but never looked ugly. Okay,
And when
South
he scored,
Africa.
I mean, he just waited for those bad
Yeah,
balls over pitched, and he either punched them, either he drove them. He looked. You're right. I mean,
and
you leave them, that's
he's got a
fine.
great range about him. You
Yeah.
can't. He's good off the back foot. He's good off the front foot. He's good against the short ball. His range, his defense is rock solid. He plays spinners well with the turn. The moment Ashwin pitched his shot, came back and cut it, reverse swept him. He just seemed to have so much of range. The great players have a little bit of extra time, and almost seemed
Yeah.
like everybody was bowling 10 kilometers less to him, but it wasn't. But he just made it look like that. Now, South Africa is also a team that has not been big. If you go back to the history, they've been fighters. They'll scrap it out with you. The Gary Kirstens, the Mark Bouchers, the Graham Smiths. They're not the David Gowers. They're not the ones with elegance all over, but they like a fight and they'll scrap it out with you. And that's how good they are. Even a Jack
Yeah.
Ellis, as great as he is, I'm a huge fan of his. But he was just a guy who's there, the presence of his. So that's what South Africa brings to you. They're on the low tide right now, no doubt about it. But it's these sort of players coming through that'll give trust to the system. That yes, there are players. You get somebody like this for your next 10, 12, 13, 14 years sorted. You find another guy at number 5 because the bowling is there. It's just the batting that needs to get sorted.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's just the. I mean, if they go on to win the match in the series again, I would say probably the odds are in their favor right now. I mean, the fact that they would win this series after losing the first. I mean, this is going to be huge for their confidence because not only have they come back. I mean, the manner in which they've come back to have two test wins potentially if they win this one to score the number of runs that they would do. I mean, and even in Cape Town scoring more than 200 in the fourth innings, albeit of course we're playing day 3, maybe the pitch is a bit different, but still you still have to come back and score 200 plus runs to win a test match against a very, very decent bowling side. Will
On a tough
definitely,
wicket.
on a tough wicket. I mean, yeah, I mean, if they win this, which they look like, I mean, they seem to be in a very strong position unless India has a magical couple of hours tomorrow. This is going to be fantastic for South African cricket. You've got to give credit
I
where
was
it's
a little
due.
disappointed with South Africa's captaincy today. I thought when Rishabh Pant came and they got Keshav Maharaj, they just played into his hands. They played
I
into
wa-
his hands.
I was
Because
very
till Keshav
surprised
Maharaj,
that Keshav
yeah,
bowled because he's hardly bowled in the series and
bowled
he's
for
going to
as
be the
long
last
as he
one
did.
to as long.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand you just going with the hunch, giving him a couple of overs just to see that, okay, let's see if Rishabh goes after him and holds out a long on or deep mid wicket or somewhere. 2 overs, 3 overs, that's it. But he just kept bowling, kept bowling, kept bowling, and then went to a stage when Rishabh really cashed in on him, and then the bowling from the other end became easier. That's what happens. Rishabh also not in the greatest of form. After that last shot, coach has spoken to him, skipper has spoken to him, senior players have spoken to him. Suddenly he's scratching around at 17. Suddenly he's 43 batting, and he's on song. He's back where he belongs. He says, "Hey, I'm at 43, and I have got my rhythm back." So Keshav Maharaj, for as long as he bowled, helped Rishabh Pant. I was very disappointed with that bit of play from South Africa.
No, fair enough. And I want to get your take on this since we're talking about Peterson. I mean, the way, number 3, the way Kohli played this innings, do you see a merit in, again, if India is going to be reshuffling the whole, cabinet of players, do you see a merit in Kohli coming at 3? He's showing a different side of him, way more patient. I don't know if that's a temporary thing for that 71st century, but do you see a value in him kind of coming up and a few other, stroke makers, whether it's a Gill or a Iyer or a Hanuma coming below? Or should he
No,
stick to
I
number 4?
no, I think he should stick to number 4. He is an ideal
No.
number 4, like Sachin was an ideal number 4. Sachin was an ideal 4 because you had a guy like Dravid at number 3.
Dravid.
Pujara has done
Yeah.
it for so long, and if I don't know if the management decides to go beyond Pujara, they'll have to find the next number 3. You just can't have your best player and put him at 3 and say, okay, you play 3. He is a number
Right.
4. In fact, Rahan at one time had what it takes to play three, I think, because you need a guy. I mean, 5 years back, Rahane, I thought, could bat 3, 4, 5 anyway. You could make him open. He
Doesn't
was
matter.
that rock solid. But over time, his game has gotten a little bit more open, little bit with a few cracks in his technique, which is evident because you can see it when you bat. If you just put a split screen and see Rahane 5 years back and Rahane now, it's like chalk and cheese. It's you can straight away make out the differences. I'm sure he's doing that, and I still feel that they have a lot to contribute. And I just hope after this, somebody like a Rahul Dravid, the master, you know, I mean, if I had Rahul Dravid as a coach and if I was struggling for runs, who else could I better think of? Somebody who's done it, probably not the most talented of players that have come through in Indian cricket, but in spite of that, I mean, I was in that game when Rahul Dravid got his first class 100, Bengal versus Karnataka in 1992 in Eden Gardens, and he looked a really good player. But if somebody told me that he's going to get 25,000 runs, if he's going to play some 40,000 balls, I would bet anything that they probably wouldn't. But from there, what he became, if he can become, he can help others also. And he knows, he's been there. He's batted at number 3 for India for 15, 16 years. He's been on these tough tours of South Africa, Australia, England, New Zealand. So he can help these guys out. I'm pretty sure he's just come on board. So this is a great time for him to take these senior players out of the public eye, take them to NCA, take them to Bangalore, keep them for a month and get it sorted.
And from your experience, from your playing days, does talent suddenly fly away, or is it that they have to make physical adjustments in terms of acknowledging that look, certain things my feet may not be moving, or is it just purely mental? Like, does talent really fly away suddenly one fine day?
No, that's a great question. See, with age, what also happens is things slow down a bit. Okay, so when you play for 12, 13, 14 years, there will be you don't move that well, you don't see the ball that well, your reflexes are maybe 5, 10%, 15% slower, but that's good enough to make you look not the same player you were. But you go to Dravid,
I think you're on mute. Yeah, sorry.
no. Okay, so you go to a Rahul Dravid who's played till he was 36, 37, go to a Lakshman who played at 36, 37. These guys are in the NCA. You speak to them, find out what it takes. Speak to Sunil Gavaskar. I mean, these are the guys, they're masters, absolutely. And Sunil Gavaskar, Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, Lakshman, Ganguly, they held on to their batting for 15, 16 years. They played, and they played with that same degree of success and performance. So even if there is a dip, when you play 70, 80 test matches, there is a chance that there might be a dip. But it's just a question of fixing it. And I certainly feel, in spite of the Gales waiting, the Viharis waiting, the Iyers waiting, Rahul Dravid can, as the head coach of the team, and there's Vikram Rathod, the batting coach, they can fix it. But they just need some time away from the public eye. The good thing is that Cheteshwar Pujara and Rahane don't play white ball cricket for us. There is time for them to be able to go and work on their things and get it sorted before we play the next test match, wherever that is.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously hope for that. And I mean, hopefully, if 2022, this could be a challenge. I mean, if Shastri kept speaking about the fact that, one of his challenges was to get Rohit to open. And I think he's very successfully done that. I'm sure for Dravid, Rathod, this would be a very, very meaningful challenge. If he can kind of figure out, if you can add another 3-4 years to ensure that we have a smoother transition. Now, before we end, I had a couple of questions. Overall batting, I mean, if the last decade, I mean, a decade ago, it was all about, you spoke about all these great batsmen, not just India, but across the world. Today, what is suddenly changing? Has bowling really improved to the extent that teams are unable to score 300, 350 often? You're seeing it in the Ashes, you're seeing it here. Suddenly it seems to be very much a bowler's game. And I'm enjoying the fact that, we have more results. Matches are, getting close within 4 days with results. But from a batting perspective, would you say it's the T20 influence? Are you seeing a pattern?
No, I think it's precisely the fact that we are playing on wickets which are a lot more bowler friendly.
Okay.
That's what it's come down to. That's what happens in domestic cricket in India. Because in the way the Ranji Trophy is, you get 6 points for a win. So you make a green top, 4 grass, 6 grass. Every team has got 3 fast bowlers. Some have got 4. Any team that has. Bengal has 3 fabulous fast bowlers. So does Karnataka. So does Delhi. So does Punjab. So does Mumbai. Everybody. So it's similarly over here. Everybody's got their strength into seam bowling, and nobody wants to give India a flat wicket. Nobody wants to give India a turner. So that's a no-brainer that they gave wickets with a bit of juice in it. Same with Australia. In the Ashes, they feel with Anderson at the stage of his career that he is, with Broad at the stage of his career that he is, with Wood and the others, it's not a really potent fast bowling attack. I don't think Australia would have dished this pitch out to England 5-7 years back with these
Sure.
guys 5-7 years younger. But they're seeing it compared to on the other side, the Cummins, the Stark, the new guys that are here. They're on song. They're at the peak of their career, whereas Anderson, Broad are at the fag end of their career. Anderson is 7-8 kilometers slower, and that is exactly what you need. That is at this level, the class players, they just need you to be 6 or 7 kilometers slower for you to not trouble them. So they have planned
Fair
it
enough.
really well. And I think all over the world, especially where India plays, especially outside the subcontinent, they'll be all given wickets like this. And this is where India will have to find the next number 3, the next number 4, for some reason, if they look beyond this. Because even anybody coming in at 3 and 5, it's not going to be a cakewalk. Even if there was an Iyer batting at 3 or a Viari at 5, this would have been really tough for them as well. You know, so you take a call whether you're just going to give these guys a little longer rope, or that's a management call, or you really feel that, okay, fine, maybe we'll go one change at a time and not get both of them away, maybe one and then the other. That's their call.
Got that. All right. As we are the fag end of the show, I'm going to again very pointedly ask you: do you think India has a chance, or this game's pretty much over? And what's your final take? And do you potentially feel that we're going to the next day, batting might get tougher? And where do you stand? Where do you see tomorrow when we come back in the afternoon? Where's your money?
My money is actually in India, only because Elgar is gone. And I think the rest of the batting is actually not that strong. If we can get Bavuma and Peterson, even if we get one of them, then you got the other guy to bowl too. Okay,
Are you
both of
counting
them
on
together
Shami?
might.
Are
I'm
you counting
counting
on
on all of
Shami?
them. I'm counting on Shami. I'm counting on Bumrah. He was lethal in the last spell. Unlucky not to have got a wicket because the way he bowled, and he needed somebody of Elgar's class and grit to play that spell out. Fag end of the day to come and play that spell. The ball going both ways. Unbelievable batting. Didn't look pretty, but he just got out to a. I mean, that's why he was so mad at himself, because he had nicked it
Yeah.
on the offside, got out. It's okay. But when you get out like this, as Pujara feels hard done by, so does he. Especially he knows what this wicket will give to India. That will give them the boost that they need. Thankfully, they didn't have to send a night watchman, but I still feel India, it's going to be really tough for them. And a couple of wickets, it's a lot of runs still left in this game. And there will come a time when it will be 45 runs, 4 wickets, because they will feel the pressure more than us, because they are the ones who have to get the runs. And on a wicket like this, getting runs will get more difficult as wickets fall because the pressure mounts.
All right, that's a very optimistic. Jaideep, the 111 Nelson runs required by South Africa, 8 wickets to go. I do agree that the next three, I mean, they haven't really scored except Bavuma. They haven't really scored much. I'm personally counting on Shami that if Shami can again have one of those 2 strike overs, suddenly things could. Because again, you're chasing. You're kind of defending in your home country. Pressure. There's something called mental pressure. Never easy.
And also
And
Bavuma being shorter than the others.
yeah.
See, the lack of the height of our fast bowlers actually negates over here, because even these balls will be up, so it will not be easy for him. Now we have to see which Bavuma comes out, the one that's going to really come and fight it out, or who's going to come and play some shots. That's a team decision that'll be taken, and something that he'll have to be comfortable with also.
So are you saying India wins by 20 runs?
I'm saying India wins by 20 runs. It's going to be close, because my money is
All
on
right.
India for the simple reason that just the way the game is panned out, the way the bowling is, for the rest of the batting to come. If Elgar was still there, I would have said 60 South Africa, 40 India. But right now, I'm saying 65 India, 35 South Africa.
All right. Fantastic. Let's hope it's again a fun day's cricket. We'll come back tomorrow before the day begins. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you.